Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to make mini ribs. Now the inspiration behind this was I was at the Asian food supermarket yesterday in my area, and I usually go there to buy really inexpensive and good quality meat, in this case pork ribs. And I was talking to the butcher lady behind the counter and I picked out two really nice racks of ribs, and she sort of points to both sides of them, she motions with her hand, and I didn't quite catch what she was saying, so I just said yes, being the good Canadian that I am. And she proceeds to take the ribs to the back, the bandsaw, and cut them lengthways in two. So I'm looking on in horror, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these ribs now. I can't just tell her that I don't want them anymore because I did technically ask her to do that. So on my way home, I was thinking about what I could do with them and thinking about how I could salvage them. I was thinking about deep frying them, but then I thought, why don't I just cook them like every other rib I've ever cooked and just serve them up as a sort of appetizer dish. They'll just be my normal ribs, but mini ribs. So that's what I did. So here's a picture of the end product. As you can see, it's a really good looking appetizer, a great finger food for parties and watching the game. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Hope you stay tuned. If you like the video, please subscribe, please like it. Thanks for watching, guys. Without further ado, let's get to the video. So here are the ribs, and as you can see, there's a lot of fat marbling on them, really good quality pork ribs. They've been cut in half, obviously, so you're going to have to ask your butcher to cut them lengthways in half if you want to make the mini ribs. What I'm doing here is I'm just removing the membrane on the back of each of the ribs. All you do is take a butter knife, work your way under the membrane, and then use a paper towel to get a good grip on what you've just lifted up, and then tear off the membrane. You'll need to do this for each of the strips. It's a little bit easier when the ribs are not cut, but you know, we're working with what we have here, so we'll just take some time, get all the membrane off, and it'll just turn out to be a way better final product because you're going to be able to allow the rub and all of the smoke to penetrate into the meat a lot better and not get blocked out by the membrane. Now you'll want to prepare your brine mixture for brining your ribs, and all the brine recipe calls for is 1 cup of salt and 1 gallon of water. So I'm going to add the cup of salt here. It is granulated kosher salt, and then I'm just going to add 16 cups, which turns out to be a gallon of water. Fill that pot up, and then I'll start stirring it up just to make sure all the salt is dissolved. Add in your pork as slowly as you can so you don't overflow the pot. The next step is you're going to want to put it in your fridge and leave it in there for about 2 hours. I did it for 2 hours this time. You could probably go longer. In fact, you could probably go to 3 or 4 hours and it probably wouldn't be too salty. You're just adding a lot of moisture and texture and flavor by brining it that you're not otherwise going to get if you don't brine. So I'll take it out of the fridge and set it back on the counter, and then I am going to start drying it off with some paper towel. I just laid it on top of some paper towel, patted it down. It was a bit too soggy from the brine, so I had to take some moisture off. It had enough remaining moisture to sop up the rub that I was putting on it, so no issues there. I didn't have to put any extra mustard or any binding agent on the ribs this time. So I put my special rub that I'll include the recipe below in the comments section, or the description section rather. Basically just a Memphis style spicy rub that I use on all of my other ribs. I put it in an old shaker bottle and I basically put it on everything. Next, place the ribs onto your smoker rack, or whatever rack you're using, and take it outside and put it on the actual smoker. I live in an apartment building, so I run a master-built electric smoker. It's just super easy to use. But I also use the mailbox mod, which is basically just a mailbox with some HVAC piping that goes right into the heating chamber. It's hooked up to the chip loader on the lower right hand side. I can give you a better close-up here. So there's the ribs, and there's some smoke coming out of the chip tray that I've put up to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's my Masterbuilt mailbox mod. I have another video that shows you how to make this, so go check it out if you're interested. And basically I just have the amazing pellet smoker in there. All the smoke is feeding up into the smoker box itself. There's also chips in that burner tray right there, just for some added smoke. I found that just the chip tray in the Masterbuilt electric smoker wasn't enough, so I like to make my ribs a bit more smoky. After about 2 hours, it's time to take the ribs out. I took these ribs out at about a temperature of 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and it got to there in about 2 hours. I'm going to put them on a sheet of aluminum paper here, and I'm going to start layering in some of my, I don't know what you would call it, it's just really like a marinade. It consists of maple syrup, some lemon juice, sugar, and Worcestershire sauce. And I'm just mopping it on with my barbecue mop here. After that step, wrap your ribs up in the aluminum foil after you've added some moisture to them. Put them back in the smoker, and then keep checking them with a probe thermometer until they reach a temperature of about 155 to 160. Some people like to go higher than that, but I think I like to cook it so it's, you know, it's just reaching that 155, 160 temperature. I hate overcooking them. Once your ribs hit temperature, in this case 155 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to put them on my barbecue, which I set to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Just get it as screaming hot as you can. Sear and lock in all that moisture. Get a good caramelized texture on them and grill marks. Put on your favorite barbecue sauce. In this case, I have some Bullseye barbecue sauce. That's just what I had in my fridge. And you want to sort of mop it onto the ribs, flip them over, caramelize the barbecue sauce on, and then take them off while they're just screaming hot and get them ready to plate for eating. Now put your ribs on your favorite cutting board and start cutting them up. So the best way to cut them is to really find out where the bones are before you start slicing and dicing into them, just so you're not cutting into the bone first. It's especially hard to find where the bone is on these little mini ribs. Now that you're done cutting them, plate them up into your favorite bowl and serve them up for whatever event you're entertaining for, or maybe just a family dinner. As you can see, these are looking really good, great finger food. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate my return viewers, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.